Good morning, everyone. I'm Victor Phaeron. I recently mentioned the fact that I'm from Stoke-on-Trent, which is a place. It's quite an interesting place. I mean, Stoke-on-Trent, the city, is hardly a city. It's 6 towns in a trench coat pretending to be a city. There's Longton, Fenton, Stoke, Shelton, Hanley, and I've forgotten the other one. What are they? Let me check what. And Burslem. Thank you, Google, for the AI overview. I desperately need to update my web browser. Longton. I feel a bit sad about Longton. Stoke, the actual city of Stoke, has, because it's so close to Staff's uni, has just blown up in terms of oh, this is a nice livable place. But Shelton is where a lot of the students are. There's also a large Muslim population here, which I find pretty cool. Because a fair amount of the Muslim population is around the city centre mosque, which is right by certain shops where they won't sell alcohol, and as an English person, you can feel however you want to feel about that. But the way that it just generally makes the area safer is really cool, I think. That might just be me, though. But I don't hate it here. The city as a concept is a shithole. Every spring, you can tell when spring comes around because the monkey dust heads get on top of the roofs. Monkey dust is a legal high, I think. And I think the way that it works is it basically turns off all your sort of safety switches in your brain. Good afternoon. Hi. Quick little note. Monkey dust actually is a synthetic cathinone, MDPHP, similar to that of bath salts which we see in America, which there is that famous story, of course, where a gentleman under the influence of bath salts, I think, bit someone's ear off. It is both more addictive and more effective than both cocaine, MDMA, and ecstasy in regards of opening up your dopamine receptors and norepinephrine receptors. Norepinephrine, as you probably know, is basically that sort of adrenal thing. That thing that makes you go absolutely crazy and, make you a superhero. Which is how they get onto the roofs. It is an epidemic in Stoke-on-Trent. Anyway, just thought I'd give you a bit more of a tidbit about it. Yeah, it's unfortunate. But, despite that, there's still a surprisingly nice community here. I think Stoke is both as homophobic as it is gay. In Hanley, in the city centre, I don't really think there's many straight clubs, if you could call them that, anymore. There are those with a more heterosexual demographic, but when I think of it, there's the Sugar Mill, there's the Underground, there's Pink, there's Gossip, and then I think there's a house and basement sort of type club. The Sugar Mill and the Underground, there's a lot of sort of grassroots sort of music and clubs. There's a lot of art that comes from here. I mean, it's the potteries, for goodness sake. We've still got bottle kilns everywhere. There's still Emma Bridgewater knocking about. Wedgwood, of course. Josiah Wedgwood, who was quite an interesting fellow. Oh, Reginald Mitchell, the Spitfire, which the Weatherspoons in the city centre is named after. Oatcakes, those are fun, those are delicious. It's always funny, you can tell those poor students that come to the clubs from out of town, as soon as they mention, oh yeah, I'm here from XYZ, the immediate first question is, have you had an oatcake yet? Those are lovely, those are delicious, and also they're not like the Scottish oatcakes where they're like a hard puck. They're like a savoury pancake, if you will. I mean, we feed them to children from as soon as they're allowed to eat solid food. Plain oatcake, not heated up or anything, or warmed with butter. Just let them tear it apart on the top of their high chair. Very fun to see. Oh, Robbie Williams. And also for those of you that are more nerdily inclined, as am I, shock horror. Hugh Dancy's from here as well. When I was big into my Hannibal streak, I was looking up, of course, where they're from, their background, of the actors and such. And King Hugh Dancy is from Stoke-on-Trent. Madness. Oh, of course, we've got Port Vale and Stoke City. Bet365. You know that international gambling company? Alton Towers, that's a thing. I think that's just bordering on Uttoxeter. I can't recall whether or not that's technically in Stoke-on-Trent. But fuck it, I'll take it, that's ours. And every young person born after 2000. Most people in Stoke-on-Trent, most young people in Stoke-on-Trent at some point will work an Alton Towers con. Despite that and all these things that come from here, and just how wonderful most of the people are, even the ones that aren't, well, the smackheads, the ones that aren't on dust, fantastic. Lovely. As you're coming into Stoke, Hartsill, Penkhull, Royal Stoke Hospital, all that sort of stuff. The bars and such around there are lovely. Also, it's significantly cheaper to live here than most everywhere else. We've had an influx of people where, due to the cost of living rising, they come to here because it's a shithole. Everything's cheap as chips, and there's a surprising amount of work going about. But also, as a result, a surprising amount of gentrification. I haven't been here in 6 months, I've come back, and what are these places? What are these new builds? What was I talking about? Oh. Even how wonderful the people are. But we do have a quite pervasive drug problem. But also, could you argue that the amount of people smoking weed is a drug problem? It's chill. It's like everybody up in Central Forest Park or Hanley Park, when it's a nice sunny day, people are smoking weed, having a can or two, a couple tinnies. It's just a nice atmosphere. It's a shame how people come here, and when I mention, oh, I'm from Stoke-on-Trent, when I'm at a convention, the amount of people that go, ooh, or I'm sorry. Fuck off, it's a nice place. The people here are lovely. There is a significant amount of culture, but it comes from us being broke and actually being able to make art. I love it around here. As much as I may loathe to admit it, it's just, the vibes are so depressing because of the sort of millennials and the older generations that saw what Stoke-on-Trent was before the 2000s. It creates this really sad, depressing energy of like, this is all you'll ever be and you'll never get out. And even if it does come to the point where you can get out, people try their best to forget what it was. And like, no, you've come from here. Like, why? It's the way that people run away from the place. Even me, I will admit that I've done my best to sort of get away. But coming back, there is history here. We were bombed during the World War, but the amount of listed buildings, like where one local library, Citizens Advice Centres it has been built. There was a school there before that was like 400 years old. There is so much history about here. The old hospital, to get that ripped down before Royal Stoke was built up again, was hundreds of years old as well, or from the very least the Victorian era. The amount of churches around here, and not just in terms of the old buildings and such that are from the Victorian era and so blatantly have like 18 blank blasted in front of them into the brickwork. The amount of countryside we have, the conservation parks, the amount of greenery we have, it's so refreshing, especially coming back from a larger city where you get little parks dabbled throughout, and sure, we have them as well. But there's 2 forests, I think, not too far from me that I can walk to, and one of them just blooms in bluebells in April. I remember going with my granddad and how beautiful that would be, because it would always be around his birthday. Even though it's a shithole, it's my shithole, and the monkey dust problem, such as the dilapidated roads and just how our infrastructure and such is terrible in general. I think we have more potholes than anywhere other county in the country. I wouldn't be surprised, in all honesty. It's just the tenacity of the people here and the way that they keep going. It's just like living the dream, same shit, different day. Even how depressing this place can be and how awful the weather can be. Like, you drive into Stoke and all of a sudden, why is it grey and overcast? People keep going and people still find the decency to be polite and find community. It's so warming. Just the way that people are so welcoming in the clubs to people from elsewhere, just like, oh, try this, oh, have you been here, have you done this, blah, blah, blah. We have a ski slope and water world. What? There's a cat cafe in Hanley now. What the fuck? How easy it is to commute to places. People try and decipher my accent, and depending on who I'm talking to, it will vary. Post-World War II is some sort of weird bastard child of Mancunian, Brummie, and Scouse. And you know what? Hell yeah, that's really cool. Because, shock horror, our train station, it's about an hour either way, both by train and by car, to get to both Birmingham and or Manchester. So, why not? If you're so desperate to get out of here, get in your car or get on the train and go. the National Rail Service. I do hate the privatisation of the railway services. The fact that it is cheaper to get from London to fucking Belgium on a one-way. It's cheaper to get to some places in Europe by train from London than it is to get from Stoke-on-Trent directly to London is fucking outrageous. And yet, still, people loathe it. At least people from Stoke loathe it. I think some people in Stoke look at other areas, bigger cities, through rose-tinted glasses. As someone that's been there, yeah, they have more money, but the wealth gap is even greater. Whereas most of the people around here, everything's shit, and everybody's in the same shit boat. I love Stoke-on-Trent, and I think I always will. I'll probably always come back here. If I ever get the money, I'll put it back into here. If for no other reason than, can we fix the fucking roads, please? My word. I love Stoke-on-Trent, and I'm always going to be proud of it. And I think I'm going to be proud of where I've come from. Because I think if I'd been anywhere else, I wouldn't be the person that I am. I love Stoke-on-Trent, and I'll always be happy that I'm from here. Good night.